Hello and welcome back to another video. And today we're looking back again at schools and their budgets and pay and teachers pay, support staff pay, because as always, news changes quickly, things come out quickly. And recently I made a video all about teacher pay rises and I'll try to remember to link it somewhere up there. But if you want to go have a look at what the actual pay rise for teachers was, then please do go have a look at that. But since then, they've also just released, I think it was literally this morning, the news that they're actually going to be putting out a support staff pay rise as well. So support staff in schools are going to get a pay rise. And that pay rise is up to, I think it's 10.5%. I'll put a picture on the screen of the actual kind of headline and what it all means. But I'm here not today to celebrate these pay rises. I think the fact is that support staff pay and teacher pay both should be going up. And I've made a video celebrating the fact that teachers pay hasn't, informing you guys all about what it's going up to. And again, I think this support staff pay rise is long overdue, but it's well worth it. It should definitely be something that has come in before and should continue rising in the future. However, there is some issues behind these pay rises, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But I just want to say, to start with, my issue is not the amount of money. My issue is not the fact that they're going up. And my issue is not that it's not a personal issue that I think I should be earning any more than I currently do. I'm someone who would never say no to a higher salary. I understand that. But those are none of my issues. My issue today is about the funding to the pay rises. Now, the government has announced these pay rises and they've announced them right at the end of the school year. So each school organises their budget per school year from September through to July or August. And they organise the amount of money they need to spend each month for the year, that kind of thing. I've never done a budget myself personally, but I know that's how they're kind of worked out. And so in schools, the governors and the head and the exec head and all the academies, and over the last 2, maybe 3 months, they'll have been working out these budgets for the next academic year, ready to start in September to say, look, this is how much money we've got for the year, this is what we're going to spend it all on, and this is how it's going to go. In a school, I think it's about 85% of your average school's budget goes on staffing. It goes on paying people's salaries. It's not a cheap thing to employ teachers, to employ support staff. It's a very, very expensive thing to run at a school. And so massive amounts of that budget goes on salaries. So schools over the last few months would have spent who knows how many hours organising these budgets and making sure they can work it out. Now, this is at a time when the cost of living is going up for everybody. And that includes schools, okay? Equipment's getting more expensive. Some materials, if you need to get some furniture or something for a school, that's getting more expensive. Gas and electric bills are shooting through the roof. And so, imagine how much it is to run a school at the minute. I can't imagine the cost of that bill must be to have all the lights on all day long, that kind of thing. It must be a really, really difficult time to sort out these budgets, especially knowing when things like gas and electric in October, the price cap's going to go up again. And so they need to budget for that and make sure they've got that sorted. So it must be a really, really tricky time. And if you're watching this out there and you've just gone through that, then I can only applaud you and say, look, I think what you're doing is amazing and keep up all the hard work. However, having spent the last 2 or 3 months organising these budgets, the government has then waited until pretty much the last week of the school year, maybe the last 2 weeks for some schools, to announce the teacher pay rise. And they've not only waited till the very, very end of the school year, but they've then gone and committed more than what they were recommended to commit. Now, don't get me wrong, that's brilliant. They've offered teachers a higher pay rise than what was initially recommended by the review body. And that is a good thing, like I said about the previous video, and all the information about what the pay rises are is in that. However, the government has not announced a single pound of new funding to help fund these pay rises. They've not given any money to schools to say, look, teachers' pay is going to go up, so here's the money to give to the teachers on top of what you already get. They've not said anything. It's an unfunded pay rise. And that means that schools are now, having worked out all their budget, are going to have to sit back through and sort out all their budgets all over again. Not only that, they've then waited, and now the vast majority of schools are now on their summer holidays. There is a couple of schools that are still in school at the minute, and there is a couple of days left. I know some schools that break up like this Thursday or this Friday. And so I know there are some schools there, but the vast majority are now on summer holidays. And they've waited until today to then announce that actually support staff are also going to get a pay rise. And again, it's long overdue, it's a good thing, but do you want to know how much funding the government's announced for this one as well? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They've not announced a single pound of new funding for the support staff pay rise either. Now again, all this means that for teachers and support staff, when they get their new pay rises, when they get their new salaries, I think they might start in September. I don't know when they start, whether they're backdated or what. But when they start getting this money, that money is going to come directly out from the school budget without anything extra going in. So effectively, that means that money's been taken from the school, and that means there's less money for resources, less money for equipment, less money for trips, for the children, effectively. And so again, the government, while announcing these great big schemes and announcing the fact that they're funding and doing the biggest pay rise in a generation, they're actually taking away the money from the children, actually taking away the money from the place it's needed most. And every single teacher across the country would say, look, fund schools better, give schools more money, because schools are the bits that need it, and they're not getting anything. I'm going to put some pictures up on the screen while I'm talking in the next bit from various different teachers that have been talking about the difference it's going to make to their budgets. And as you can see from some of the comments, they're so far in deficit. Schools are already straining at the seams to make sure their budget's balanced and make sure they're not going too far into the red and trying to sort out where they can cut back and cut things. And people are already saying they're going to have to make redundancies if these come through without any extra funding. And I think, you know what? I understand it's a tricky time. I understand it's a hard thing. But I think not only the fact that the government have announced these and haven't given a single pound of new funding to help with any of this, they've also waited until the last possible moment, until so many teachers have logged off for the summer and gone for their 6 week summer holidays, which is so deserved, and they should have turned off and they should not have to worry about this stuff during the holidays. But can you imagine at the minute the head teachers, the executive head teachers, the leaders of the academies that are currently having to sit down during the holidays and rework out the entire school budget again? I absolutely applaud all the people that currently sat down working through all that, and hopefully you will find a way to make the balance work. Make sure you get everything you need for your school ready for the new academic year. But I do think now is not the time for schools to accept this. It's not the time for teachers to just accept this. I think this is partly why the National Education Union is talking to its members about possible action they might want to take on how they can resolve this. Because I think, again, the government's found a way to announce a policy that seems like such a good thing and it seems like such a positive thing. And in some ways it is increasing the salaries of teachers to hopefully get more teachers in. But there's so many things about it where you think, actually, you know what, look at it. Where's the money coming from? Where is that actually going to come from? And in reality, it's going to come from the schools. It's going to come with the equipment. It's going to make the matters worse for schools in general. Now, Rishi Sunak has also just announced something else. I'm going to go into this a bit more in a separate video, but if you've been following the politics recently, you know that Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss are both vying for leadership of the Tory party and therefore become Prime Minister. And we're going to find out on about the 5th of September, I think it is, who's won that. And I've been looking with quite keen interest, because I'm quite interested in politics, but also to see what kind of things they say about education. And something that's just been announced today that I do need to do a bit more research into by Rishi Sunak about trying to get more girls and women into sport and levelling up PE and hopefully trying to improve that. And whether or not that's the right thing or a good thing, I don't know yet. But if you have read about it, do let me know what you think. There'll be something coming out about that, because I think, again, unfortunately, throughout this leadership campaign, education has been one of those things where it's been a tiny, tiny piece of the puzzle and they've just really not paid any attention to it. And I know I'm biased as a teacher and I think it's the most important thing, but it is our future. It's our children's future. It's the next generation of people that are going to go and lead this country. And I think it deserves to be important. I think it deserves more attention than it gets. It's not just a stepping stone for someone to move up to a more important job by leading the education department in government. And so, you know, we will see what comes of it. And if they make any promises, I'll be sure to let you know. And like I said, I'll be delving into what Rishi Sunak just announced about PE and getting more girls into sport very soon. But thank you very much for watching this, guys. And I hope there is going to be some kind of announcement about this before the summer holidays finish. But as always, we will have to wait and see. And I'll let you guys know as soon as I know anything. So as always, there's a new video on a Tuesday, Friday and a Sunday. And I'll see you very soon.